Hello everybody, and thank you for watching once again another episode from Energy Vampires. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about once again the Garden of Eden. Okay, I know I've done a lot of videos on it, but it's kind of like quite deep because it kind of kicks off everything. It's like right at the start of the Bible. And so I'm going to do another one about the Garden of Eden. Okay. And I want to talk about the tree once again. I know I've spoken about this quite a bit, and the fruit on the tree. Okay, and God said to Adam and Eve that of all the trees they may eat, but as for the tree in the center of the garden, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you must not eat, for in the day that you do, you shall not die. Okay, so it was commanded of them that they must not eat it. Okay. Now, I did a previous video about the fact that God didn't want them to eat it because he didn't want man to become like God, to become like the gods, because, to become like us, okay? So I did a whole thing about that, okay? But the question I want to put forth in this video today is, did God know that they would eat the fruit of the tree regardless of having been told not to? Okay, so here's a situation where God says, don't do this. Did God, this is the big question now, did God give them that commandment and hope that they would obey it and didn't know one way or the other whether they would or wouldn't, okay, and hoped that they would? Or did God know that they would eat it? Now, if God knew that they would eat it, he would have also known that he would make them pay dearly for it, because the consequences of eating the fruit of the tree meant that sin would enter into the world, and there would be death, there would be sickness, there would be dying, there would be evil and wickedness, all right, for thousands of years to come. Okay, so God knew that, and God made it that way. God could have forgiven them for eating of the tree and said, hey, you shouldn't have done that, give them a slap on the wrist and said, look, okay, don't do it again, all right? Or punish them proportionately for the crime. Perhaps kick them out of the garden, but not their children and their children's children and for generations, for thousands of years to come, okay? No, God required thousands of years of suffering and blood sacrifices to compensate for that one simple sin of eating the wrong kind of food, okay? Which is weird. So did God know that they were going to do it and therefore know that the consequences would be horrendous? Or did he not know? Well, in this video, I am going to show you what I believe to be pretty damn close to proof that God would have known, okay? Because a lot of people debate this issue. Did God know that they would? Did God know that they wouldn't? Some people say, that God allows free will and that he. Anyway, there's all these questions around the matter, okay? But there's a man in the modern day called Derren Brown, okay? He's very famous. You've probably heard of him, but in case you haven't, I'll explain to you who he is and what he does. So he's on TV a lot, and he is in the UK, and he is not a magician, although he might look like a magician because he entertains on TV and he does all these what look to be tricks, like magic tricks, but that's not what he does. He's a psychologist, he does neuro-linguistic programming, he's a mind reader, he's a mind controller, and he does it very scientifically using applied psychology and neuro-linguistic programming. He's very good at what he does. And he does social experiments and he does different experiments to prove things and explain things about the human psyche. And he did an episode on his program called To Kill a Kitten. I think that's what it was called. Okay, and I'm going to put the link in the description of this video so that you can watch it. And let me tell you, it's only 10 minutes long. So it's not very long, but it's very, 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 very impactful and very powerful, and it's very interesting, and I highly recommend you watch it. Okay, and I'm going to explain what it's about right now. Okay, so he brings in a woman who does not know why she's being brought in. She's maybe told that, hey, you're going to take part on a TV show, and it's going to be an experiment, and she volunteered to do it. And she was brought in, and they were in a room together, and they were just talking and different things. And he said to her when she arrived, okay, there's a button, right? And if you push that button, an electrical current will go to that kitten in that little box, and the kitten will die. Now, may I just say at this point, do watch the video, because I guarantee you that there's no cruelty to animals, no kitten dies. It's not legal nor moral to do this on TV, to kill a kitten. It's obviously not going to happen. But this woman believes that it will happen if she does the wrong thing, okay? So there is no current, the button is just a fake, it's not, there's no wires, there's nothing. Yeah, it's just fake, right? So the kitten is perfectly happy, purring. At the end of the experiment, she's stroking the kitten. Everyone's happy. All right. So make sure you realize that, so you don't freak out when you start to watch it. Okay. Now then, in the Garden of Eden, it says that Eve was deceived by the serpent. Okay. Now what happens is Derren Brown, who I think represents the serpent in the Garden of Eden, he deceived the woman because he used psychology on the woman to make her push the button, right? So he's representative of the serpent. Okay. The button represents the fruit and the tree. Okay. And the kitten represents the death, or the consequences of the sin, right? And it's a very, very strong parallel. And no parallel is made to the Garden of Eden or the Bible in this. This is just something that I made the connection, okay? But what happens is he offers the woman a reward if she does not kill the kitten, right? The reward was £500, which is around $700 US, okay? And so that's kind of similar, because in Eden, right, the reward for obedience was a beautiful garden, a paradise, eternal life, no sickness, okay? Everything perfect. And the consequences was death, ultimately, and suffering leading up to death. Well, in this experiment, the consequences is death. It's the death of a kitten, right? It's not, but that's what she believes. And there is a reward for not doing it, okay? Now, I don't know about you, but if someone said to me, don't push that button and I'll give you £500, I would be pretty keen to not press the button and get my easy £500, right? But no, she does press the button, right? Because she's deceived, she's been mind controlled, but she still makes the choice. Let's not forget that. She still makes a conscious choice, a free will choice to push the button. It's only, you can't force someone to do anything. You can do suggestion. You can persuade and suggest subtly and manipulate very subtly, and persuade on a subliminal level. But you can't make someone do something they don't want to do unless you physically force them, right? Which was not the case here. Okay. So yeah, she pushed the button, and that proves to me that humans are naturally inclined to do what they're not supposed to do. Okay, so if you see a wet paint sign, it says do not touch wet paint, and you see them sometimes on walls, on doors, on gates. I don't know about you, but hey, I mean, it's not logical, it's not rational, but oftentimes I would just touch it because I want to feel, is that wet? So, and it's a stupid thing to do, right? But we all do it, right? Every parent knows that if you do not want your child to do a certain thing, don't draw attention to it. Now, God didn't realize that, by putting, if he didn't want the fruit of a tree, a particular tree, to be eaten, he needn't have put it in the center of the garden, right? He could have put it on a mountaintop, far away. Yeah, he could have not put it anywhere at all. It's obviously put there in plain sight, right in the center of the garden where they hang out. And he knew that they would eat of it. And what does that say about the character of the God of the Bible? Now, I don't even know if this story is true, but if it's true, right, and I suspect not, but if it's true, and if God did indeed know the decision that they would make, having known human nature because he created humans, and know the consequences and choose the consequences of the action, right, and then he let that all go ahead, then what does that say about the character of the God of the Old Testament? Now, I believe that if there is a God of the universe, that, he would not behave like that if he was a benevolent, loving God. So if there is such a God, it's certainly not the God of the Old Testament, because this is just the beginning, guys. The Eden story is the first few chapters of Genesis, right? That's the beginning. The Bible goes on a lot further. There's a lot more pages to come after that. And there's a lot more questionable, debatable things to come. Okay, so do watch that video. The link is in the description. Take care. Bye-bye.